Hello and thank you for watching. This is STSE back again with another one of these build videos. Now, I missed last week because of a very frustrating accident. I recorded the entire video and I thought it was actually pretty good. And then when I went to transfer the footage off of my camera onto my computer, it all deleted itself. So, yeah, that's the last time I used cut and paste to move footage. So yeah, sorry about that. But hopefully going forward, no more missed weeks. This should be a weekly series. And this week, I'm thinking I want to try and make a forklift. It's just kind of a random idea popped into my head. And I think the gimmick with this forklift is that the actual forks from the vehicle will become swords in robot mode, and maybe he'll be like a ninja or a samurai. And I've also gone ahead and got 4 little wheels ready. So I guess this guy might be roughly minifigure scale, probably not minifigure compatible. That could just introduce some complications to the build that I don't know if I really want to deal with. So yeah, that's the starting point. And I think I'm going to start by making the arms, and I think the arms will become, I don't really know what the proper terminology is, but like the whole gantry that the forks are attached to. Sorry, I already have a vague idea, so let's get building. And the first thing I need is some bar holders. And these will, I suppose, effectively be his hands, and I'll just clip them onto the swords. And my thought process is that the arm can be built upwards like this using, say, candles, and then have a rounded Among Us plate is usually what I call those, to be honest. Yeah, I call them the Among Us plate. And then that could be an elbow. So that could be a very, very long arm. And I could, personally, I could see myself really enjoying that. Like he's got these crazy long arms with swords. Like he's this out of control swordsman. I think that could be kind of fun. And then, this would fold down and we'd get something to then connect down and have the shoulder. This would be the shoulder, and we would mirror this, and you would have that kind of that rectangular gantry. I don't really know the terminology, but then it would all fold up into that. So let me actually build up a second one and stop myself from rambling. So we have this kind of this gantry assembly here, and let me just the most basic thing I can do right now. Probably won't stick with this, but it's just, it's something simple to approximate, a shoulder connection. So the whole vehicle would be built off of this, the wheels attaching onto there. And then this is the whole fork assembly. And then it spreads open into these long, gangly arms with swords. So probably more like a ninja, because, samurais are all about, being armored. So it wouldn't really make a huge amount of sense, I would think, for this to be like a samurai character, probably more of a ninja. I don't have a name, but I'll probably try and come up with some sort of pun around him being like a swordsman or a ninja and a forklift. But I guess that remains to be seen. So, robot mode is a decent place to start, and obviously it it transforms easily enough into the front of a forklift if I don't break it. I suppose going forward, I'll have to decide before I keep going if I want to keep this connection. Honestly, it is fairly basic, this shoulder setup, but as long as it works, that's all that matters. And I suppose my one concern right now would be I want to have this movement. The forks obviously aren't going to be able to lift, but I want them to at least be able to tilt up so that, if you placed a pallet, let me get something to fill in as a pallet. If you did place some kind of pallet on there, he would be able to tilt it up and hold it. And the issue I could run into, obviously, is that if I build up the forklift now onto this, you're blocking that. So what might make more sense is not tearing it apart in your hands, is setting this up on a separate hinge. I'm thinking something like this with clip tiles. And then build off this and still have some clearance and some wiggle room. And I could even kind of faux lift the forks using that double hinge. That could even, sort of cheat that gimmick. So yeah, I actually kind of like that. That I think is a solid way to go about it. And then I suppose I have two thoughts. The legs can form kind of the chassis and have the wheels on them, or they could wrap up and be the what would you even call it? The roll cage, the cabin. I suppose the trade-off would be, either having these big gangly limbs be mirrored on the bottom, or having more chunky legs made from the body of the forklift. And one idea that just popped into my head is, what if the roll cage actually forms a second set of arms? And I think that could actually kind of be cool, making him a four-armed character. I don't really do too many four-armed characters, so it could be a fun way to set them apart. So I think I'll go with that, with the idea that the roll cage will then form even more long, gangly arms. And I suppose enough rambling. Let's just make the legs. So building off of that. I have to decide what kind of hip I want. Definitely there is a part of me that's very tempted to do a simple hip like this, which I've talked about in previous videos, where kind of the trade-off of articulation versus solidity. This kind of basic hip where you would just have then something like this as the thigh. Really getting random with the colors today, but that's part of the process, where this would fold down and be a hip, and you end up losing any forward movement, but you do have just like this fairly solid and reliable connection here. And of course, the lower leg can then fold down and have the wheels on it. And I suppose that works. It's just a question of if I'm okay with having with losing that articulation. And usually I am, and I suppose here I would be too. It's just I don't know if I want to commit to that. But sorry, I'm just getting him into a proposed robot mode. You have these long arms and the legs, and even I'm realizing the head could be mounted onto here and hide behind between the legs. And I mean, again, it does sacrifice articulation, but I think I will go with it. It's just simple, it's reliable, and I think with his ridiculous arms that are going to have plenty of articulation, he'll still be able to pull off tons of fun poses. He won't necessarily need all that articulation in the legs, and I think I'll be content without it. So maybe that's a cope. Maybe, but it's what I'm going with. And for now, I'm just going to do the most basic setup for the legs I can do. Just to get an idea of their size, I suppose. And I can come back later and try and make them a little bit more complex, maybe. I need to extend that out by 2 plates. Yeah, it seems like generally people have been enjoying this series. I've personally been enjoying making them. For I don't know how much that matters to people, but I've been enjoying them, and it seems like generally I've gotten good reception on them. It seems like people enjoy them. Views have gone a little bit down on the last couple, but I'm assuming that's just because the Zodiacons didn't make for as clear of a thumbnail. Honestly, I'm not really good at the whole YouTube game, making thumbnails. I just like to show the thing in the thumbnail and let it speak for itself. And I think the thumbnails I did for the Zodiacons maybe weren't the most appealing. It's the animals are a little bit more abstract than, say, the ambulance from episode 1. And I am wondering if that had to do with lower viewership, or maybe I'm completely insane. Who knows? But that is honestly part of why I'm doing a forklift right now, and not, say, a tiger or a giraffe. Just because I think Earth vehicles tend to make for a stronger thumbnail, and as long as I'm interested in building it, that's what matters to me. And hopefully you'll all like it all the same. Sorry, I'm just breaking this as I'm trying to build it. Okay. So yeah, I've added the first set of wheels, and I've tried to set it up so that as it folds out, it doesn't collide with the thigh. Then I also am going to use a cheese slope here to kind of fill in the space behind the lamp holder. I don't know how clearly that shows up on camera. It's black on black. Yeah. So hopefully that helps. And I think a second plate here would help fill this all in. And then I need some more bricks. Now, as far as color schemes, I suppose that should be something I'm talk about. No, those wheels are too close together. Color scheme wise, I have no real idea what kind of color this character will be. And I'm right now operating with the assumption that I will just figure that out. Once it's built, I'll look at what the pieces come in and figure it out from there. A lot of times I'll have a color scheme in mind and it affects what parts I'm picking. Right now, I don't really want to complicate that things. I don't have a particular color scheme even in mind. So I figure why worry about color? Just build and figure it out later. Maybe a shade of yellow. I think a lot of these pieces come in the color I like to call Keat Orange. I'm a Bionicle nerd, so I know this color is Keat Orange. It's the kind of the school bus yellow. Maybe that color, maybe a completely different color. I'm not going to worry about it, but there you have a leg folding out. Makes it quite tall. I wonder what I want to do for the foot. What do I want to do for a foot? So I want to look into adding feet, which of course would end up on the back of the forklift. But one thing I'm thinking is I would like to be able to rotate this lower leg so that it gave it more of a digitigrade posture like this. I just think that's more suiting to a character with these long gangly arms. But the problem I'm running into is that this lamp holder piece does not rotate. You can kind of like force it, but it's going to start. I think I even did it right there. You can see it actually chipped the corner of this tile by doing that. So what I'm going to do is try a slightly different way of building it using this bracket. And then this, oops, went out of focus, but this gives it clearance to rotate now. But it still places the wheel more or less where I want it. Oops, breaking it. Yeah. So I might use the other bracket, just the other direction of bracket, just so that the other side can sit flush with it, if that makes any sense. I want to change it so that if it would stop breaking, so that now you can see this edge is flush and it's easier to build off of than if I was doing the other side, doing the other kind of bracket. So then I can just there we go. And it could use a piece like that. There we go. I think the front wheel is now mounted a little bit farther forward, but even then, that's actually a good thing. I think that helps. And what that allows is for this to rotate out and rotate around. And now he has this digitigrade kind of look where the knee goes backwards. And we can maybe even rotate this back out to give it a little bit more definition. Or rotate it kind of this way. And have, say, if I can find it, a tooth plate. One of these. Like that maybe. Just as an idea, as a foot. though that might not be the best look. But I suppose now it's time to actually start thinking about real ideas for the foot. Yeah, you could rotate, oops, you could have it rotated like this. But I'm actually realizing I don't think this gives the clearance I think it does. I think it's still knocking this wheel off, I think. So what if I swap the wheel for an inkwell? That's still, I think it's still colliding. I really thought that would give enough clearance. That's kind of frustrating. I'm gonna have to yeah, like if I just rotate this, you can see it kind of knocks this out of the way. And it's not a huge deal, but I suppose I can make it part of the transformation that you bring that down and out of the way and then rotate and then close it back up. That is a little bit cumbersome having to do that. Yeah, this is I guess in the weeds, this is kind of the most boring kind of problem you can run into on a transformer when you have to decide if a finicky connection is okay. If you're okay with it, or if you want to replace it. At the moment, I don't know a better way to do it, so I think I'm just going to stick with this, just at least for now. And then I do kind of like the idea of having the lower leg rotated like this to be a little bit wider. But then I would want an ankle tilt to have the foot flat on the ground, and I think I have an idea for how to do that. And it's just one of these into a hollow stud. I think I did the same foot design on Splitter, I believe. And it just works, gives an ankle tilt. And there you go. And it just needs this to top it off. And then there you have a nice long leg with a foot that can actually sit at an A stance and will actually be on the ground. I suppose I could also do like that, but again, I kind of like the wider lower leg. We'll see if the wheels collide when these are both down there. Like if those wheels become an issue, having them facing each other, if they're going to hit each other and stop them from standing solidly. But I think it'll be fine. So I'm going to go ahead and mirror this design on the other side, and I'll be right back. So I've mirrored the leg, and here we have him in the proposed robot mode so far. Yeah, he's a bit of a weirdo, but that's how I like my Transformers, so that's A-okay. He stands fairly solidly. Not a lot of weight up top, so, I would hope so. And I think he looks fine. I guess let's get him back into forklift mode. And then I can start considering the head, which I think can very easily attach up here, and a second set of arms, and possibly stuff to fill in his torso. So let's just go ahead and transform him. I suppose I should build off of here to fill in this gap here. And I will use a brick just with studs on the side so that, oops, hopefully I don't break it, but there we go. That should line up. There we go. And that can be kind of like the, I think some forklifts I've seen do have like a protrusion on the back or something kind of jutting out. And I think, that looks fine enough. Now, I suppose it's time to attach the second set of arms. And I think I'll just do this. And then get a tile here. Just black, so it's like that would be hollow space in real life. But obviously in the model it is full. It is something solid, so it's just to color it black, so it's as if it were hollow. And then let's get bar connectors back out. And these will probably be built very similarly to the other arms. No, I think actually I might bring in some robot hands. Like this. There we go. And then have these, oh, come on. There we go. Clip those on. And get some 2 long bars. And one thought I have is if I had swords here, if they would be able to fill in the role of the back, but no, that's not going to work. That's just not going to work. So let's get a bar holder on there. And then I suppose some candles. And there's about 2 plates of space there, so I would get two inkwells. And 2 clips. The clips will kind of be able to serve as hands, hopefully, if I don't drop them. And then you can see those can kind of just nestle in there. There we go. Now, the question is, am I okay with this open top design, or do I want more of a proper roof on there? And I'm honestly not sure. So I think I'm just going to leave it as is for now. I think that's a pretty decent looking forklift. It does still somewhat tip up a little bit, not a huge amount, but I think it tips up just enough. My plan didn't quite work out with this joint, but it does it can tip up enough that, I think, real forklifts don't tilt up that much anyway. I'm not sure, but it tilts up enough so that you can hold on there. I suppose now we have all this room to work with to add the head. So I guess let's transform it, and then I'll build the head, and I'm sure it'll be able to fit in forklift mode. So let's just transform him into robot mode. And I know at the beginning I was talking about making this some sort of ninja or samurai, but I think I've kind of very much left that idea in the dust here, as it's more of like a Insecticon or a spider bot now. I think it is kind of fun, and it's just a matter now of, I suppose, attaching the whatchamacallit, the head. But I am also wondering if I could add like a crunch here, like an ab crunch, and then have like a little bit more definition on it. It's just a question of where would I fit that. Let me see if that's something I can do. So I guess I could fairly simply swap that out. Gives it more of a hunched look. Can you still stand like that? Yeah, you can still stand. I think that's way more dynamic. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that interlude. Now it's actually time to add the head. Okay. Oops. It's like I might even have it fold down all the way like that. I don't know. I don't know about that, but just thinking. Because then I can have some droid arms attaching the head, which let's momentarily place a pneumatic T. Sorry, this is not showing up on camera. No, well, that's why I can't get it on. This droid arm, which I just got off Bricklink, is cracked. So that's awesome. I'm pretty sure that was a new one I got off Bricklink, so I guess that seller didn't check them all that well. Sent me a cracked one, but I guess that's life. Okay, so that's a neck, a potential neck. Just doing this, I'm wondering if I did swap this in such a way that it could come down, if that would just make for a cooler looking robot. Like having this really hunched torso. It might. It very well might. Let me try that. Because it would, the solution I'm thinking about would reduce solidity a fair amount. And I do very much value solidity, making my Transformers feel good. But if it is in service of just the robot mode also being much nicer, it's kind of hard to argue against. Yeah, I kind of like that more, where he's just like this much more hunched lower character, and like yeah, I kind of like that a lot more. So I think momentarily, at least, I will stick to that. There might be ways to change out this connection for something a little bit more solid, but at least for the moment, I do really like how that looks. So I'm gonna stick with that for now. And now, sorry, I keep getting sidetracked. I suppose it is actually time to give him a head. And I think I might do something fairly simple with just a Travis brick as the base. And then a clip tile as like mandibles. So he has like this insectoid character. And if I can find them, my transparent tiles, there we go. Two of those on there. And then top it all off, cap it all off. One of these corner tiles to give him kind of angry eyebrows. Okay, now there we have him. He's this very kind of I wouldn't say movie verse, but kind of movie verse inspired in terms of being very like monstrous and creature like, whereas rather than being a robot, like he's very bestial and weird. But I like him. My one concern is that his legs are fairly standard robot legs. Oh, and they break. But they might not be the most suitable or fitting limbs for him. But for now I'm gonna go ahead and transform him and we'll take a closer look. So here we have him in his forklift mode. It looks good enough. Has obviously the front forks. They can rotate up a little bit. You can place a makeshift pallet on them. Has all four wheels. And in the back, I figure I'll probably make these cheese slopes trans red as taillights. He's got kind of the roll cage up top. Yeah. Decent little forklift. There we go. I guess it's time to transform him. So, bring the camera up. You just start by unfolding the arms, both sets. And then that gives you the clearance to rotate out the legs. And you can then fold the whole torso down like that. Split the legs a little bit. And you actually have to rotate. Rotate the knee like that. Then you have to rotate this, rotate the wheel down, and that will give you just enough clearance to rotate this. There we go. Then you have to repeat that process on this side. Rotate. Get it all lined up. And you can bring out the ankles and tilt them like that. And then fold the legs down. There we go. Position the lower set of arms. And like I mentioned, these cheese slopes will probably be red, translucent red, so they would be like red claws in this mode. And oops, you could even rotate them around like this to be more claw-like. And let me bring up the camera again. Bring it up a little bit more. Because you split the arms. Fold this up. Fold down the head. And bring the arms up. Rotate the swords. And there you have him in his strange robot mode. Let's see if I can get him standing. There we go, and there is his robot mode. It's very weird, very insectoid, very strange and monstrous. I do like his little head. I think that's a decent little build I came up with there. Like I said, I'm not sure if the legs really suit him. I might look into ways to make the legs a little bit more bestial, but for the sake of this video, I think this is close enough to done. Yeah, he's just this little guy. He's very funny. And I suppose, like the first episode, if any of you have an idea for a name for him, feel free to leave them in the comments below. And I guess I will see you next time.